Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Films. My name is Alan. Today we're going to be looking at all 43 planets in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that while you're watching Avengers Endgame, you can think about all those planets and all the life forms on those planets turned to ash. And yes, I'm going to butcher the name of most of these planets, and that's because I can't bother to learn alien languages. Hashtag humanity first. And yes, this is a Christmas tree, but no, it's not still up. It's just up early. Alright, let's begin. Alaskavariia is the home planet of the Asgardarian, a weird tentacled race of humanoid aliens that are part octopus and part lizard with sharp teeth. Needless to say, they sound disgusting and probably should be wiped out, although rumors are Star-Lord used to date one. Don't know what the planet really looks like, but apparently there are a bunch of mountains and oceans, but I don't really care because it's mostly covered in aliens. Like Aakon, Peter Quill's dad, Ego, loved running around and spreading his seed into everything that he could see, and when he finally decided to steal his son's energy, he had enough power to allow all those seeds to explode, including on a planet called Aakon, where Ego's gooey insides basically just spread all over the place and killed a lot of Aakons, who are almost human enough for me to care about. Pretty looking planet though, really loving the violets and purples they brought back from the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Niflheim is the first of the 9 realms that we're going to be talking about today. The 9 realms is from the Thor storyline and refers to the 9 worlds that perfectly align into what's known as the Convergence once every 5,000 years. During this event, the dimensional boundaries between each world becomes thin enough to allow movement from one world to another, along with a wide range of gravitational and hyperdimensional anomalies. But when the Bifrost was destroyed, it cut off Asgard's ability to protect the rest of the 9 realms, including Niflheim. Niflheim is the home of the Light Elves, and yes, I hate those pointy-eared bastards. They're always looking down on us good, hard-working humans. Arago 7 was another world that Ego implanted with a seed, and yes, Kurt Russell running around the galaxy implanting his seed into planets is going to be a recurring theme in this list. The Hoktarians lived on Argo 7, and when Ego's seed started engulfing their planets, a lot of them died. Asgard, finally, a world worth talking about. Asgard was one of the 9 realms. Unlike most of the planets on this list, Asgard is a relatively small planetary mass that isn't shaped like a planet, but more like a disk that had gravitational pull on the top surface. Sounds like a flat Earth cover-up to me, but hey. Stuff on Asgard, including the Asgardians themselves, are denser and more durable than things here on Earth. There's a Nexus portal on Asgard that connects it to the roots of some kind of magical tree, interdimensional highway sort of thing that connects all the 9 realms together. This allows Asgard to watch over all 9 realms and keep the peace. Although there aren't any stars nearby, weather and climate on Asgard seems quite nice. Not really sure where the energy comes from, but Asgard isn't really a normal place. Badoon was the home to the Badoon, a race of reptilians who were kept in check by the Asgardians. But once the Bifrost was destroyed, the Badoons went crazy and started raiding all the nearby planets. Birdheart is a pleasant enough planet right next to the planet of Sovereign. In the comics, it was inhabited by the Sakaarians, and in the MCU, it's the place where the Guardians of the Galaxy land after escaping from the Sovereign fleet. It's also the place where Peter Quill first meets his dad Ego. The area where the Guardians landed was covered in heavy foliage, which Rocket Raccoon used to his advantage when they were attacked by Ravagers. Conjunction was a harsh desert planet, perhaps best known as a hideout for criminals and for its black market. In many ways, the planet reminds me of Tatooine, but less people and much worse to be on. Contraxia is a cold and icy planet, and it also happens to be a place that the Ravagers love for some recreation. One of the popular destinations on the planet is the Iron Lotus, a great place to hang out and drink with friends, get into bar fights, and even solicit an android prostitute. Number 10, Dervani. Dervani was just another chapter in the sad childhood of Gamora and Nebula. While partaking in a training mission on the planet on behalf of Ronan, Gamora pushes Nebula off a tree canopy in order to win the mission. Unfortunately for Nebula's face, the trees on Dervani are ridiculously tall. Drez Lar was just one of many planets that Rocket Raccoon scrolled past while searching for Ego's planet in the Universal Neural Teleportation Network. Drez Lar is a part of the Kree Empire. Earth is home, a pleasant spherical-shaped planet, or it could be a flat disk like Asgard, I don't know and I don't care as long as I don't fall off the edge. But an interesting fact about Earth that most humans don't know is that Earth is one of the 9 realms and also the center of the 9, which is why it's also known as Midgard. Now, most aliens in the galaxy, including the Asgardians, consider the Earthlings as way too primitive and low-tech, so most Earthlings really don't know about the 9 realms or what else is out there until they watch this video. Easik was another planet where Ego planted his seed. You're probably seeing a pattern here. The majority of MC units have either been impregnated by Kurt Russell or Chris Hemsworth. Of course, then there's Ego's planet, Ego, named because of his ego. Ego was a celestial, an ancient race of ridiculously powerful beings who could manipulate molecules and matter in a way we can't even dream of. Eventually, Ego began building a protective core around himself, which he then surrounded with the planet. And Ego's planet is beautiful. It's like millions of Renaissance landscape paintings were thrown together, chewed up, and then spat out randomly across the surface. Of course, below the surface of the planet, Ego hid a few literal skeletons of his failed offsprings from thousands of women he had impregnated across the galaxy. Hala is the homeworld of the Kree and the capital of their empire. The Kree gave us lovely individuals like Ronan the Accuser and unnecessarily overly tanned Jude Law. What's interesting here is that Ego almost destroyed the entire world when he planted a seed on it. But the Guardians of the Galaxy saved Hala by taking out Ego. Halfworld showed up as Rocket Raccoon's homeworld when the Nova Corps began looking over his dossier. This apparently was an entire world built to house the insane and mentally ill. But then the alien Guardians left the planet and the patients in charge of robots, which then became sentient, who in turn genetically altered a bunch of animals to become intelligent and then made them take over stewardship of all the crazy people. Not much is known about Aakon, but we do know that Asgardians probably fought a war on it, and Chris Hemsworth probably was there as well. Jotunheim is another one of the 9 realms, and it was home to the Frost Giants. In the 9th century, the Asgardians had a war against the Frost Giants. Odin succeeded in defeating the Frost Giants and took the casket of ancient winters from the Giants, which was the source of their power. Since then, the planet has been deteriorating from the lack of magic. Kitson was named after the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s TV show writer George Kitson. The planet was known for brothels and prostitution. George sounds like a great guy. The planet Korbin wasn't a part of the 9 realms, but still it was one of the planets under the gaze and protection of the all-seeing Heimdall. But when the Bifrost Bridge was destroyed, the world became free game for organizations like the Marauders or the Badoons. Maveth was formerly a beautiful garden world home to 9 ruling cities. The people on this planet had been extremely advanced, but they ended up starting a planet-wide war, which wiped out all life. Maveth was also famous because a dangerous inhuman named Hive was banished there from Earth. Hive had fanatic inhuman followers on Earth who started a secret society which eventually turned into Hydra. Their sole purpose was to bring Hive back to Earth. Now we venture over to our neighbor galaxy of Andromeda, to the oceanic planet of Morag. Many millennia ago, an advanced civilization flourished there, but were wiped out by an environmental disaster. The ruins of this once great people are still strewn across the planet. One temple housed an orb which housed an infinity stone. In 2014, Star-Lord danced across this temple, kicked some rats, and stole the stone. Muspelheim is one of the 9 realms and also a Dyson sphere, an artificial structure constructed around a star that uses its almost infinite energy to sustain life. During the convergence, it was seen by humans on Earth at the Battle of Greenwich. Thor was also trapped on the planet while looking for infinity stones and had to fight a giant fire demon in order to escape. Nidavellir isn't really a planet, but it's important enough to make this list. It's actually a dying neutron star that has a gigantic space station orbiting around it. This station used to be the homeworld of the dwarves. The station also was home to the Golden Forge, one of the most powerful weapons forges in the galaxy. It used energy from Nidavellir directly to smelt metals into weapons. It was here that Thanos had his Infinity Stone gauntlet created. After its creation, Thanos massacred all 300 dwarves in the station, leaving only the king alive. Another one of the 9 realms, this icy planet served as a prison for Hela, the daughter of Odin. Hela had attempted to escape from the desolate world once before, and Odin had sent all the Valkyries to stop her, but they were all slaughtered. Odin ended up traveling to Niflheim to stop Hela himself, and ended up fighting her and imprisoning her on the planet using his own life force to bind the spell. When Odin died, Hela was freed from the planet. Next was another world outside of the 9 realms that was protected and watched over by Heimdall. It also suffered greatly when the Bifrost was destroyed. Niflheim was another world outside of the 9 realms. When Thor was first exiled to Earth and met Padme, he thought he was on Niflheim. Paramatar was a very seedy planet known as a transportation hub. Rocket Raccoon and Groot once chased a bounty on this planet. Praxius IX was either a gas giant or a solid planet. It was famous for its cloud tombs, gigantic pyramid-like structures that floated in the planet's atmosphere. Thanos once sent Nebula and Gamora to investigate one of these tombs because he suspected the orb was hidden there. Rhea is another one of the worlds protected by the Asgardians, but outside of the Nine Realms. We shortly see the planet when Rocket Raccoon and Yondu warped across the universe in the Quadrant on the way to Ego's planet. There really wasn't much going on here besides two dudes bashing each other in the head with clubs. Terrible place. Sakaar was the awesome artificial trash planet where Thor is banished to after Hela takes over Asgard. The Hulk also ended up on Sakaar because apparently the world was surrounded by several wormholes, which is why all that trash also ended up on the surface, and also probably why time flows differently on Sakaar compared to the wider galaxy. An interesting fellow by the name of Grandmaster ruled over the world and kept peace by holding awesome gladiatorial games. Earth leaders, please take note. This guy's approval ratings were through the roof. Skrullos was the home of the Skrulls, a bunch of shifty, shape-changing aliens probably up to no good. Luckily, the Kree destroyed their homeworld after they refused to join their empire. Sovereign is definitely a weird-looking planet. Well, actually, it was more like a bunch of planets glued together. Home to the genetically engineered Sovereign people, the planets were held together by an infrastructure powered by Analux batteries, a very rare source of energy that attracted the attention of monsters known as obelisks. Multi-dimensional tentacle monsters that love snacking on batteries. Oh, and everyone in the Sovereign race seems like a genuine dickhead. Svartalfheim was another one of the Nine Realms home to the Dark Elves, called the Dark World because the entire system was corrupted by dark matter and the only light came from a black hole. The Asgardians had defeated the evil Dark Elves and their leader Malekith on the planet many thousands of years ago. The surface of the planet was destroyed and became a wasteland, almost 5,000 years later during the convergence. Malekith reawakened on the planet and tried once again to plunge the galaxy into darkness by using the Reality Stone, otherwise known as the Ether. Terma was another planet that Rocket Raccoon scrolled across when piloting the Quadrant to find Ego's planet. Titan was once a beautiful world, but then overpopulation struck and the Titan race started declining. One of the natives, Thanos, proposed randomly killing half the population. Naturally, everyone thought he was crazy and rejected the idea. Titan's decline, however, continued until a catastrophe wiped out all the population. What once was a blue and green garden planet turned orange and brown. The atmosphere became full of terrifying electrical storms. Thanos witnessed the death of his people and vowed to prevent something like this from happening to the rest of the galaxy and started his crusade to kill half of the galaxy. Once Thanos succeeded on his mission, he retired to a paradise world known as Titan II, where he had a small homestead and farm. Torfa was a planet on the edge of the Kree Empire. It had blue soil and was the location of a battle during the Kree-Skrull War. Vanaheim was one of the Nine Realms and home to the Vanir, who were basically just Asians. A Vanir named Hogan joined Thor's entourage after traveling to Asgard. Vanaheim is a relatively undeveloped world with very few cities. The Vanir mostly live in rural villages. During the convergence, 2 Royal Air Force jets crossed over to Vanaheim. Vormir was a desolate planet where the Soul Stone was located. After being defeated by Captain America in 1945, the Red Skull was transported to Vormir by the Space Stone. With nothing better to do, the Red Skull became the keeper of the Soul Stone. In order to obtain the stone, Thanos had to sacrifice the soul of someone he loved. Thanos focused, as always, on the mission, push Gamora off a cliff. X was the planet where sentient trees like Groot came from. Not much else is known about that world. Xandar was home to the Xandarians, who were basically humans but more durable, with some variances in blood and eye color. The planet was the capital of the Nova Empire and had 12 billion inhabitants. The Nova Corps, which was the military branch of the Nova Empire, focused on creating peace in the galaxy. Unfortunately, this attracted a lot of negative attention to the planet. Ronan the Accuser, a Kree radical, tried to destroy Xandar with the orb, but luckily was stopped before he did too much damage. 2 months later, Xandar once again was attacked, this time by Ego Seed. Again, this plot was stopped. 4 years later, Thanos attacked Xandar in order to obtain the orb. He succeeded and then proceeded to destroy the Nova Corps, and once he gathered all the Infinity Stones, he wiped out half of the population of Xandar. The last planet on our list is Zen-Whoberi, home to the greenskinned Zen-Whoberi. The planet was suffering from overpopulation, so naturally Thanos and his Black Order arrived and slaughtered half the planet's population. Gamora was a native on the planet and was taken by Thanos as a personal assassin. So those are all 43 Marvel Cinematic Universe planets, and I'm sure in Avengers Endgame there are going to be a lot more new ones introduced. I can't wait. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button down below so you don't miss out on all of our Avengers and Marvel coverage. As usual, my name is Alan, reminding you that life is a movie and you are the protagonist.